You know it's my bear, my boy Hawks. Oh my god, you know I love Hawks. Yeah, I guess Hero. She's gonna be, I'm prepared to save you, Hawkshot. Hero's like, I will also turn into the main character now. Yes, she's like, I am time for me to also be the main girl. Oh my god, you're gonna get owned? Wait, you get his laser beams now too? He got so many weird powers, man. Yeah, All For One is like, I got a new power up, girl. He get 20 different powers, man. Oh no, did he kill Hero? Does Hero die? Or qurik is dead. He blasted her quirk. We gotta burn delusional side characters. He deaf Hero took her ears. Yeah, he ruined her powers, man. Her powers is her eardrum. Hero gets owned, right? Hero gets owned. That was kind of the end of the episode. He hits her with this like weird laser beam thing. All For One goes for her, right? I mean, but mostly went for the younger, inexperienced people, generally speaking, right? And of course, Deafens Jiro one ear, I guess. But I think this might be interesting, right? Because with her, with her powers, it's a little bit like, maybe she lost her power now then. I don't think so, because she still has one ear left, right? One ear plug left. So it probably weakens her quirk. But at the same time, given how this anime is in a lot of times with quirks, it also might be that she's like ear immune or something. And I mean not immune as in, yes, he did blow for ear, but maybe she can regrow that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like if my power is super arms or something, and if someone rips off my arm, maybe I can get a new arm, because my quirk is like arms, right? I don't know, but her quirk is literally like ears, right? Eardrum, sounding ear things, this weird thing growing out of her ears, right? Is that the plug thing is coming out of her ears, right? So he ripped off one of her ears basically, but I don't know, honestly. I could see it in the next arc being like, oh no, my ears is back now. I can see definitely her being like, oh no, because of my quirk, I could like regrow it, honestly. I don't know, it wouldn't surprise me, honestly. But anyway, yeah, she kind of got in there, got injured. I really don't feel that they did that much to help Hawk and Warren Tower. They kind of flew in there, and they basically worked as a distraction, I guess, so Tower can like heal himself a bit. But so far they haven't done anything of run. He just stands there laughing at them. Yeah, he's just like weak killing. Yeah, like the only thing they did was there are a decoy for like a minute. So. But then he just owned all of them. So, like, that didn't really turn out that well for them. But it does feel, and I think there is an issue with All For One, right? And also Shigaraki even more so, is that they're kind of too OP, right? But I think a problem isn't just that he's OP in that sense. But I think a problem with All For One is that his OP-ness is I can have any quirk, which means that we get these kind of moments where he's just like, oh, my quirk can also shoot laser beam. I can transform my hand things to some tentacles, and then they can build this thing, and then this building can shoot laser beams. You're like, how the F does that actually work? Like, it doesn't make any sense that quirk would also be able to do this thing, or is a combination of quirk, whatever. But it's kind of like, because his power is I can take any quirk and combine them, whatever, you have to just kind of accept it. So it's not a plot hole, but it certainly is a little bit like a Deus Ex Machina that All For One can basically bring out any quirk that the author wants him to have at the given moment, right? And then use it. And if anything, the bigger problem is probably that he has all these quirks, but it's like a very common issue that Villain has, I would say, is that he has the quirks, but he doesn't use them, very often. You know what I mean? Like, he has like 50 quirks, and this quirk is like amazing for this opportunity. And he uses this once, right? And then the next episode, he never uses it again. Come on, that is literally All For One. He's that kind of villain. He has that issue massively. That he has like so many different quirks with the powers, but he never really utilizes most of his powers again, right? Like, he's probably never gonna shoot someone with a laser beam again. Yeah, like he almost killed Hiro with some weird laser beam shit, right? That is probably never gonna be used ever again against Deku and anyone else. That was like a one-time deal, right? There's a lot that he does. So he kind of just brings out new powers when he wants to, and then he forgets about them. Right? And then the next episode, he forgets he had his power. That's a big issue for him. Yeah, he's like, ha! I can conquer your sound power with my laser beam. And the next episode's like, what is laser beam? I never had that power. Yeah, it's a little bit troublesome as a character, right? Finally, Dabi versus. I would love if he could win here. I would love if Deku was unnecessary, yeah. But almost Deku, it ruins the story. I know that they probably can't win because it has to be Deku, right? Oh yeah, Hawks is there. Hawks is there! Oh, you know, it's the best bro ever. I mean, I love Hawks' backstory. And he's just like, I'm the only one that believes in you and Endeavor. It's the best storyline ever, man. He's like holding his doll there. He's holding the Endeavor doll. Like, I always liked you, Endeavor. You were my favorite hero. They need some assistance from the... So not everyone's gonna ship them. I know the meta is this anime. Not everyone's gonna ship these two characters. Not everyone's gonna be like, oh my god, the bird and the sound lady. Oh my god, they're clearly lovers now because they're flying together. Yeah, everyone's gonna ship them now. They're gonna be like, they saved Hawks and Endeavor, so they're clearly like together now. Yeah. This is how the Macadamia fandom is. They're like, oh my god, she's flying on his back. They're basically married now. Yeah. So. The first 10 minutes of the episode was kind of like, I don't know, you just saw everyone fighting. Yeah, it's a little bit like, I think, for better or worse, and this is honestly, I think, hard to give. I'll say, but I don't want to say, oh, it's terrible, but also great or whatever. But it really reminds me of, for example, the final war in like Naruto, where we have so many characters, right, and everyone is fighting. So it really gave me that feeling. Okay, we have Hawks fighting. But then we're jumping to like, big, fat gun fighting, and then we're jumping to like mountain lady fighting, and we kind of have this like separated to the characters. So every character is fighting on the same time, and Hawk is the best guy or whatever. Hawk is cool, man. I love my Hawks, I love Hawks. But it certainly feels a little bit like, especially the Naruto ending, or similar like war arcs, like the Marine Force and so on. It's so many characters, and they have to jump through all of them all the time. So the first 10 minutes, they aren't like bad per se. But at the same time, they feel a little bit like, oh, I'm getting like 1 to 2 minutes fighting per character. Yeah, it's a little bit like here. So I don't know. I always felt that. I would say, I think it's a mistake. Right? I think it's a big mistake in animes and mangas or whatever doing that. I think it would be much better if the authors just focused on one group of character each, right? I mean, obviously, like where Hawks are fighting, we have Hawks and Dower, and then obviously Jiro, and so yeah, we have those characters, and with Hawks, obviously. But we have Spinner fighting some of the other good guys, right, blah, blah. So focus on one per episode, I think would be much better, honestly. And this is a general critique for anime, I think, overall, for the show anime, right, This episode here, right, obviously is mostly Hawks focused on, right, and then Dower a little bit, but obviously the Hawk episode primarily. But still, the first 10 minutes is like, a little bit Mountain Lady, a little bit Fat Gum, a little bit Hawks, a little bit, whatever. Yes, it's like everyone gets a 1 minute each, right, for the first 10 minutes. And you're just like, it's not bad per se. The minutes aren't bad. But I'm just like, no, I'd much rather have 10 minutes of Mountain Lady, right? 10 minutes of Fat Gum, 10 minutes of Hawk, and then rather having 1 minute per character. But like I said, I think it's a general issue that shonen anime author has, all of them. Because they all keep doing stuff, but they're jumping through everyone's battles instead of just focusing on one battle. Of course, sometimes you have to jump a little bit, so it feels like it's all happening on the same time. But this here felt very One Piece, right? Where Oda goes through like all the Straw Hats. Or this episode, we can see every Straw Hat for 1 minute each. You're like, yeah, okay, great. Like nothing, because I feel like nothing happened usually, right? I feel like nothing really is progressed then, because it's like, Nami does a Thunderball, Frankie does a summoning a mecha. Like, I feel like nothing is happening, instead of just having the full fight, right? And yeah, it really is a shonen curse, I feel, overall. I think, like I said, I think almost every like battle shonen does this thing, right? And it never made any sense to me. I don't think it never made any sense. And Naruto is probably the worst example of it. It's a total storyline where, obviously, then spoiler for Naruto, but like minor spoiler, but yeah, like when they. In Naruto, they had this final war, right? And they basically have every goddamn ninja and samurais and whatever. They have every goddamn character basically coming back to fight or being there to fight or whatever, right? It's like 500 characters, and they spend like 200 chapters fighting each other. And it's like there's so many chapters where they jump between like 30 characters, right? And you're like, you just stay on one of them for like 2-3 chapters and finish it. But no, it's like yeah, and there's so many chapters that feels completely like almost unreadable in a weekly stuff. Because I remember I read Naruto weekly, right? And some of the chapters felt almost unbearable because you're like, oh yeah, like literally there are 20 different characters for 20 pages. You're like, yeah, great, this is like going nowhere. This was better than this story, don't get me wrong, but yeah, a little bit like that, right? I mean, honestly, I've been very, very negative on One Piece later because of the whole Vegapunk stuff, which I truly, truly hate Vegapunk, my favorite character. But I'm really, really worried, right? Because Vegapunk is showing Oda's incredible issue with pacing. We know that that's a big issue in One Piece, pacing, right? And Vegapunk's pacing is just atrocious, right? And he keeps showing like every character with Vegapunk, like literally every character in OP. He keeps showing them every goddamn character. It's like every chapter. It's like, what is Vivi thinking? What is Dalton thinking? You know what I mean? So I mean, in the final arc of One Piece, I think it's gonna suck probably to a large extent, honestly, because it's gonna have this set issue with Hawks right here. That it's gonna be like 5,000 characters, and Oda's gonna show every goddamn character for like, one panel each, yeah. It's gonna be like 500 characters per chapter doing something, one per panel, you know what I mean? That wouldn't surprise me, because Oda he's the worst at this, yeah. It's gonna be worse than narrative fights. It's gonna be worse than this thing, right? But like I said, still though, I think it's important. This is very shonen, right? They all do this thing. Every goddamn battle shonen does exactly this mistake, and it's never been good in any of them. It's never been a good thing. It's never been good. They never learn. I don't know why they're doing it. It doesn't make any sense. It's just like we saw for a spinner, right? So let's wait for that. But it's a spinner. He's Godzilla now. That's pretty cool. But at the same time, right? Couldn't we just finish that? Do we have to wait like 2-3 episodes to get back to spinner? Can't they just have that spinner fight? Couldn't they just bin the whole episode and then we go to Offer One or whatever? Yeah, what is Don Krieg thinking? Exactly. It's like, what is Gin and Don Krieg doing right now? They're eating ramen right now. But this is what I mean. Like, we see Spinner and he's like, oh yeah, Spinner's like Godzilla now. That's pretty cool. I wonder if there's other powers. That's like, let's go talk. That's what Hawk's doing now. He's like, no, I want to stay on Spinner. I want to see if Spinner is just a giant Godzilla, right? Because Spinner, I mean, be honest, maybe I'm wrong, but what I saw, Spinner used transformed into, a much bigger form, right? Basically Godzilla, calling him. But does that mean that Spinner has more quirks, or is he just, a giant guy, right? Plus his previous quirk, right? Who knows? That's what I mean. I'd rather stay on Spinner and see that fight be started and mostly concluded, right? See his powers, see what happened, how will he defeat him, and do that stuff, right? But instead it's like, ha! Spinner's like Godzilla now. Okay, let's go. What is Hawk doing right now? I said, no, stay on that guy. Like, no, what's Hawk doing right now? What is Zero doing right now? I was like, no, go back to the Godzilla, right? I wonder why they always do this thing. Maybe for the writing, if it's easier like this. But it is frustrating, I think. And I think the episode here, it's not bad. Like I said, I don't think it's a bad episode for like a battle shonen. That's what I mean. I don't think the episode's bad at all. I like the episode, but I just mean like it is very, like the execution of the writing, whatever, right, is very, very, shonen jump. Yeah, it's like, this is how we do it. Yeah, this is how we do it. Every character gets 1 minute. Like it is what it is. Let's go on. It's kind of like this is how we do it. Yeah, like this is how everyone else does it. And that's the formula for this kind of giant war fights, right? But anyway, what more happened? Did we see some other stuff? The beginning, we had, of course, Dabi, Dabi Toya. That was a great burn for that matter, of course. As I mentioned earlier, Offer One was like, I found your son! And honestly, now it's gonna be like, I found your son! Yeah, I took your son, Endeavor! Yeah, and everyone blamed you for being a bad dad. Like, oh god. No, it's gonna burn. It's gonna burn from Offer One. Exactly. I kidnapped your son. Oh my god. Now here he comes, man. He's like, yeah, I took your Dabi. Or Toya, I mean. Yeah, Jesus Christ, man. He's like, there's a giant burn from Offer One. I kidnapped your son and made him into a monster. And, Offer One is like, that's right. I found Toya in the forest and I made him a villain. Right? And he's like, and I was like, no, you made my son evil or whatever. I think this is very interesting because, honestly, first and foremost, didn't Offer One save him? Right? He's acting like, oh, I made your son a villain. But it's kind of true, but also, like, wasn't Dabi dying in, like, the forest after using his powers too much? So if Offer One hadn't found him in the forest in, like, comatose, because he was 3 years in coma, he would have died, right? And Offer One gave him, like, medic aid for 3 years. So it's like, well, actually, he kind of saved his life, though. Right? He's acting like, yeah, if anything, he saved his life, right? Because if he didn't found him, so I think this scene was kind of weird, honestly. Obviously, he was a taunt and dour. But generally speaking, it's like, well, I mean, otherwise he would be dead, right? So it's kind of like Dawa could tank him through making his son evil, sure, but like, otherwise he would be dead, right? So it's a little bit weird in the general sense, because it's like, well, he otherwise probably would died, right? Again, maybe, I guess you could argue that maybe Endawa would have found him in the forest eventually, and they could have maybe saved him, waking up in the forest perhaps. But probably not, right? If he didn't get saved by Offer 1, he would be dead instead. So that's one thing. Secondly, as I made my video this week, right, and you know how much I feel about Ray Todoroki, right, Mama, and of course Endawa and so on. Dabi was already crazy before he burned down the forest. That's why he did burn down the forest. So the whole idea too that Endawa made him a villain, arguably yes, but as I say in my video, Mom made him a sociopath, right? It's the mother's fault that he's a sociopath. So without Offer 1, he still would be a sociopath. He will still probably be a villain, even if he never met Offer 1. So I'm a little bit like, I don't know, man. Offer 1 takes way too much credit for this thing, I feel. He takes way too much credit, okay? He's like, goddamn frag stealer, man. It's Mom's fault, okay? Don't come in here, Offer 1, and pretend that you made this guy crazy. He was already crazy when you met him, right? I mean, he was already a bad person when you met him, yeah. Don't come in and lie about it. And if you see my video, short summary, right? But there's a very classic thing called Yukasta complex, and this is you check it out. It's a very, very classic behavior scientist thing where a mother, right, is enabling her bad son's behavior, and that usually leads to children doing bad stuff, right? And this is very, very common, a very common issue. And this also explains why, for example, in America, mostly, right, single-hand household have, in general, were children, right, of course, and single houses are obviously moms almost always, right? So it's very similar to that classic issue, right? Why raising a kid, a mom only, usually leads to the kid having more likelihood of being a criminal and bad at school and blah blah and so on, right? Dabi is the same thing. Right? I know he has his dad there, but the action of Ray, right, is that she's lying to Endawa, right? She's pretending it isn't happening. Endawa asks her to protect Dabi, right, or Toya then, and asks her to stop Toya from going outside, stop him from going to the forest, yada yada. And she's like, oh yeah, I will do that. Then she lies to Endawa, right? Because she doesn't do shit about it. She's like, oh no, I hate the kid. Doesn't do anything about it. So she does that classic enabling mother, which leads to the children being sociopaths. This is like a textbook how to create a sociopath son, right? So it's her fault with Toya Dabi, absolutely. People love to blame Endawa for it, but it's ridiculous because Endawa actually keeps trying to stop Toya from doing this thing, right? And then people go like, oh, but why was Endawa not doing it then? Well, because Endawa was the second strongest hero on the planet, and he had to go and do work, saving his life, fighting all the villains, right? He's asked his wife to, do the parenting. She's a stay-at-home mom, right? Like, protect our son. She's like, oh, I will do that. Like, yeah, that's a lie. She didn't shit, right? It's her fault. Jesus Christ. I'm so tired of people blaming Endawa when it's so clearly that she created a sociopathic son, right? Very classic textbook. You cast a complex way into it, and it's just so ridiculous. But anyway, my point of course is that all for one didn't make him crazy. He was already crazy, mostly thanks to Mom, right? And obviously his father was the one that inspired him to, train and be stubborn and all this stuff, as Endawa himself says that, he got that stubbornness from me, right? Sure, but he still wanted to quit, I mean, honestly, I read about earlier, but I'm so tired of it, right? I'm so tired of it. People keep complaining on Endawa, where anyone that has any understanding of psychology knows that, well, in this flashback and this backstory, obviously it's Mom's fault, mostly. Like, I'm not saying he's innocent, but it's clearly mostly Mom's fault, like 90% of her fault. And then, of course, later, he's meaner to her, and he's meaner to Shoto, and blah, 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 so on, right? But again, you have to think about it, right? How much Shoto figure here, right? You have to think about it. It's like, yeah, but this is after he thinks Toya died. And whose fault did Toya die? Mom's fault. Because Mom was the one that didn't stop him from going to the forest, right? She was like, oh no, he called me fat, whatever. Yeah, oh no, he's mean to me. He can go and burn down some animals in the forest, you know what I mean? So, no. And then, when he does his stuff to his wife, right, it's after that. I mean, honestly, people always like, oh, Endawa, but Jesus Christ, man. You have to also remember that he got worse to his wife after Toya died, right? And again, whose fault is that? Her fault. So I'm just like, Jesus Christ, man. I'm hardcore on my Endawa defense now. But like I said, now I made that video, which is a very long video, explaining, the whole Endawa and Ray interaction, right? So now I'm just like, yeah, no. Now I'm like, oh no, now I'm like dead serious on my on my on my my race stuff there. Yeah, no, guys. Like I know what's up, man. I know my stuff. But honestly, as a side note here, then in a general sense, guys, I've been thinking about this for many years, right? Because obviously, I got a degree in this subject, right? Now I work mostly with, game theory and like behavior science and so on and so on, right? And the way I look at it from like a professional standpoint, right, is that a large portion of my work, sometimes depending where I work then, but is to do this thing, like, profiling, sending these things, all right. So this is a huge part of my life from a professional standpoint. So immediately, right, when I saw the second flashback, not the first one with the NAVAL and Shoto, but the second one with Toya, right, immediately, this is about 2 years ago now, I was like, oh yeah, obviously mom has this issue. Yeah, obviously mom is this complex, right? Yeah, obviously, right? No question in my mind is that, oh, this is supposed to be this thing, right? But people are so insanely hateful, right, of NAVAL, and I think it's really, really strange, honestly, when it comes to mom, though. And I guess because she's a frail little woman or something, but it's really ridiculous how it's like, I mean, obviously, mom is a much worse parent than NAVAL. They're both bad parents, but she's obviously the worst. Like, objectively, she's the way worse parent. In any, like, objective measurement, she's the worst parent. And people are like, oh no, but she couldn't help herself, I hate that idea, right? I said, I hate that idea when people are defending bad actions because, oh, she couldn't help herself. No, she couldn't. And at the same time, I hate that people are defending Dabi. People are like, oh no, he calls he's a villain. His dad was mean to him. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, people are so obsessed with that, and that's one thing that honestly bothers me in the anime community. How, anime community, they're so into this, like, defending villains that make no sense. Yeah, like, oh no, he had a bad childhood. I'm talking about the most, right? Obviously, Eren. Yes, Christ, guys. When it comes to their Eren defense, right?